Okay, so we're going to start with some skills pretty common to you, ways that you might go about starting to create your pencils. The first and most straightforward way is to just use the pen tool. What I would suggest doing when you're using the pen tool is treating the object itself as if it had no inner details. So I'm going to come and I'm just going to do the yellow part for now because I'll show you some easier ways to do. And I should have put that in its own layer. I'm going to go ahead and put it on its own layer. And I'm going to turn that layer off and make a new layer. And so what I'm going to do is build layers of detail up. So I'm going to zoom back in. And now I'm going to do the pencil point. And then I'll do the wood of the pencil. So I'll start here. That's all pretty straightforward and you know how to do that. I'm going to pause it, come back to you when I have the wood and stuff done. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the ridges of my pencil drawn, and each one of these is its own shape. So that's a shape that I can fill a color if I want. And this one's a shape that I can fill a color if I want. And so's the wood, and so's the pencil point. I'm not going to fill them because I'm going to take this into Photoshop and do some other stuff with them later, but I am going to turn this layer off because I'm going to work on the barrel now. To make the barrel in perspective, you kind of have to understand a little bit about drawing. I'm going to make a new layer, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to draw an ellipse that matches the approximate arch of the barrel, the end of the barrel, the part that I can see, and doesn't go beyond the edge of the pencil. So edge of the pencil's here, edge of the pencil's here, my barrel is there. It needs to be slightly flatter. I'm going to pull this in. That's pretty close. And that's going to be important because I'm basically going to use the same oval here as I do back here. They're all real similar. There's such a small space, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. And we're going to take some shortcuts just to make sure that on the ferrule end down here, you know, it looks like a ferrule, but it's still stylized. So the ferrule is nothing more than that oval and a rectangle. So I'm going to draw a rectangle that does basically the same thing, and I'm going to turn it invisible so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to pull it in so it's nice and tight, and I stop the rectangle right kind of halfway in the middle of what would be the oval back there. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as an eraser or an addition to the blob tool. So I'm going to copy my oval, I'm going to paste it in front. I'm going to take and I'm going to make one every time I have a detail. So like there, and there, and here, and here, and the very end. And I'm going to use these, bring this one to front, bring this one to front. So you can see my stripes, they're kind of visible. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one first to clip the ferrule apart. I'm going to ungroup it. I'm going to delete the stuff I don't need, because this is trash. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing with these two. Use this Pathfinder, ungroup it, delete the stuff I don't need. And I'm going to make it slightly bigger so that it touches. I don't need this, I'm going to delete it because I can repeat this one. I like that one better. Okay, so there are my stripes. I'm going to select clip, object ungroup, delete what I don't need. So now this stripe is yellow if I wanted it to be. And I'm just going to go ahead and repeat this since I've gotten it the way I want it. And then lastly, I'm going to use a different tool for the back end. I want to add this oval to the back end. So what I'm going to do is select that part of the ferrule, and I'm going to select that tool. So now I've gotten that arch at the end of it. There's my barrel. And I can add in those little details at another time. I'm not going to waste your time doing that. I just matter of a couple of lines. And the same thing can be done with, I can repeat this idea. If I took this, copy, paste in front, here's my eraser. I just slide it down. It's slightly smaller because it fits inside the barrel and it's behind. So object, arrange, send it back. And it's, I just turn it pink for now. This thing's going to be green. But for now, because I'm going to take it into Photoshop, I'm going to turn all this stuff white, including this. So we'll pick this up in another tutorial, and I'll give you a couple of different ways to finish it, work with it in Photoshop and work with it in Illustrator. You can move on to another. If you're more interested in, or you watch both of them, if you're more interested in one or the other, feel free to dump Illustrator and go into Photoshop or vice versa. So see you in a minute.